Hello, today I'm joined by Hans, designer of Helm Slain. It's a cooperative RPG-style campaign board game where you need teamwork and strategy to defeat increasingly fierce monsters in defense of the Kingdom of Helm. Hans, thank you so much for taking some time to show me the game.
Thank you, Gelb, for having me. I do appreciate this quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I'm really interested in the fact that this is both, you describe it as both an RPG style campaign but a board game. And so like, tell me a bit about it. Like, what is it and who's it for?
This has sort of been in the works for years now, many years. And it was just a hobby. Hey, have your friends over, you play this game, and it kept getting a little better, a little better. And then finally, 3 years ago, I decided I'm going to take this to GaryCon and show total strangers. They loved it. They're all asking me, when am I going to publish this game?
And so tell me about it. What is the game like? What do you do?
Yes, so it might be easy if you see the board.
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Yeah. Okay, cool. Wow. All right. There's a lot
It's a
going on
large
there.
dungeon.
Yeah.
So it's a dungeon crawl game. And what happens during the dungeon crawl, I'll just show the little bottom here.
Yeah.
Classes on the bottom.
Yeah.
And
Armor
then-
class. Yeah.
So what happens, it's a dungeon crawl game where everyone is a traditional AD&D type character. So you got the dwarves, the elves, and the humans.
Yep.
Fighters,
Classes.
rogues, paladins, clerics, wizards.
Yep.
And you even have character sheets, but you're playing on a board game style. So the group itself is moving through the dungeon, and when it comes to combat, your position is abstract. So it's almost the theater of the mind type idea, but abstract in that we have battle boards
Nice.
for the players and the monsters. You're either going to be in the front row doing melee, or in the back row casting spells or using missile weapons. But you can't do those in the front row.
Okay, cool.
So a lot of decisions go on who's going to be in the front row, who's going to be in the back row, because your healer needs to be in the back row to do healing spells. But you still want him up there for an extra attack. So the game is simple enough that a 12-year-old could pick up the game, figure it out, and play with his friends.
So who are you targeting the game to? Like, is this for fans of D&D, or is this someone who actually isn't necessarily as familiar with D&D and might want to just kind of get into that kind of world, or is it for someone else?
Well, it's really two different groups here. The first group is the old-time D&D players where, you know what, you can sit down and play this. I've done it more than once for 12 hours straight, and you still feel refreshed. You do that with a role-playing game, and you kind of get burned out because you're doing all the different roles, especially if you're the game master. And it's also for, which has happened multiple times here, someone that really wants to play a Dungeons & Dragons style game, but doesn't want to have to go a 300-plus booklet to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Here you go. And people say, you know what, I love this game because the first time I played D&D, because that's what they thought they were playing, and I understood what was happening.
So it's kind of, it brings elements of like simplicity in terms of straightforwardness of rules of like a board game.
Yes.
With some of the theater of the mind elements of an RPG or some of the reasons why people love RPGs. Would that be fair?
Yes, that would be very good.
And what about the world? Like, tell me about the Kingdom of Helm. Like, what's going on there?
All right, so this is the realm of Helm we are at, and what's happened is the monsters from the Blade Mountains have been attacking Helm year after year, and all these people have been dying. They're now known as the Helm Slain. So now you're getting a band of adventurers to strike retribution, go into the Blade Mountains, into their dungeon, and try and defeat the monsters.
Okay, interesting. And sorry, go ahead.
One more thing on the name of Helm Slain.
Yeah.
It's an anagram of my name.
All right, there we go. I knew there must have been something there. And so what do you love most about it? Or what do you find people love most about it when they play it?
What I really enjoy watching is you sit down in one of these game conferences, 8 total strangers sitting there for a few hours, and before you know it, they're cheering each other on, high-fiving each other. They've bonded because they've had to work together as a team to overcome these monsters, and it's a life and death situation.
And in terms of like one of the elements that I think was most interesting about like reading about the Helm Slain game is the number of players that it supports. Quite interestingly, you list 1 to 12 players.
Yeah.
Is that a typo?
No, nope, not at all. I have actually hosted games with 12 players multiple times.
So what are they using? Is everything using that one board? Like, are there any other like parts of the game that you can show us in terms of like how
on the large board? The entire group is represented by one token just moving around. because you're
Right.
staying together as a group.
Right.
And here I got some standees here to show you. And we have standees for the player characters.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And the game comes with 21 different varieties of these. And we'll also be offering on our Kickstarter the clear plastic versions,
Cool.
the acrylic ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really cool looking. And the monsters have the same thing. So, like I said, we've done 12 players at once, and the game moved along. I've tried games where you have 12 people at once, and okay, it gets really slow. But the pace of the game kept moving, which is really fun. Which has to do with the combat system and how we have it broken out in segments where you start off, and when the spear, you go first, just roll. All right, swords are next, is your next. Mace is your next. And just kind of work your way through that, and the rounds go very quickly.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I can tell that this is, I think the idea of there being it's, it feels like it's a lot more than just an aid to help people play like a Dungeons and Dragons type game. But I can totally imagine that someone who might be a seasoned player, seasoned RPG player might enjoy this just to add a little bit of structure, but also as a great way for people who are seasoned RPG players to get their friends to flirt a little bit with the with the format a little bit. Do you find any other types of people are really enjoying playing the game in ways that you didn't expect?
It was surprising how young some of the kids who have played, and just like get all excited because they feel like they're at the big boy table now, and really playing a game with. I've seen them play with the grandparents even.
Yeah.
And yes, they're just having fun with that. It was surprised me how young of an age just comprehended this and really enjoyed it.
Nice, nice. Well, so where can people find more out about you all?
Right now, we're working with Launch Boom for a pre-Kickstarter campaign. So that's where we get people to sign up. That way we can send you an email. We're doing our Kickstarter, and go ahead, and then you can have an opportunity to do the Kickstarter. We're hoping, we should be having this by the third quarter this year.
Cool, cool. Well, so if anybody out there is interested in finding out more, obviously you can check out boxofdice.com, which is Box of Dice Games, which is Hans's publishing house. And if you're wanting to keep up to date with Helm Slain, you can look at the link in the description below, and that'll get you through to a place where you can receive updates about the game's progress. And I'm looking forward to seeing it come to Kickstarter very, very soon. Hans, thank you so much for taking some time to talk to me about your game today.
Thank you, Gelb, for having me again.